I'm sorry to burden you with my problem, but I really need to share and read different opinions because I have the feeling that I'm not normal, that I'm going crazy, that my behavior is inadequate, and that I'm a bad and morally bankrupt person. For several months now, my life has turned 180 degrees. My mother, with whom I am very close, fell ill with a serious illness, as a result of which she is immobile, bedridden, unable to take care of herself, and is completely dependent on my care. I strive to provide her with quality care, warmth, my personal presence, and a dignified life. I try to keep the situation under control and be perfect in caring for her. I clean, cook, feed her, give her medicine, bathe her, cut her hair, change her diapers, keep her company, massage and move her, hug her, and kiss her. I know how hard it is for her, and I try my best to create comfort and mood for her. Her condition is serious and there is no hope of her recovery. She herself does not help me in any way, refuses to eat or take her medication, spits on it, pushes my hands. At night, she becomes restless, screams, and I have not been able to sleep normally for several weeks in a row. I am divorced. My 2 children are grown, live in other cities, have their own families with young children, as well as professional commitments, which is why I cannot rely on them for help and I will not allow myself to ask them for it. I have no brothers and sisters, so in this situation I am completely alone. And I was supposedly coping, but lately I feel like I'm losing control. I have become nervous and irritable. I cry every day. I am emotionally unstable. I explode easily. Several times I crossed the line and allowed myself to yell at my dear mother, be rude to her, and literally get hysterical in front of her. It was easier for me to deal with my 2 children than it is now. I don't recognize myself. My mother and I have always had a wonderful relationship and I love her immensely. I don't know why I explode like this and feel momentary irritation towards her. I am an unworthy daughter. I am not normal.
Okay, I want to be really clear about something right from the start. What you just heard, that's not a confession of a moral failure. If any part of that story felt familiar to you, it is absolutely crucial that you understand this. From a psychological standpoint, what's being described here is a known, recognized, and frankly, an understandable human response. Let's dig into what that actually means.
What this is, it's a cry of profound exhaustion. It's the sound of a person hitting their absolute limit, physically and emotionally. This isn't some sign of weakness. It's a signal flare. It's the brain and the body saying, I am completely overloaded.
So, let's just reframe this entire experience. We're going to move away from all that language of guilt and failure and look at the reality of what happens when a person is just pushed way beyond their capacity. This isn't about being a bad person, not at all. This is about having an overwhelmed nervous system.
These words, gosh, they're just so heavy with pain and self-judgment, aren't they? And it is so important to just sit with that feeling and acknowledge it. That sense of being unworthy, of not being normal, that's a very real and devastating part of this whole experience. And that feeling deserves to be taken seriously.
So look at this, because this is the crucial distinction. On one side, you have that internal story you tell yourself, the one filled with self-blame. But on the other side, that's the psychological reality. The outbursts, the tears, the irritability, these are not evidence of being morally bankrupt. They are the predictable, even expected responses of a human nervous system that's been under extreme, prolonged stress.
And you know what? There's a clinical term for this. It's called caregiver burnout. And just giving it a name, that alone helps us move it out of that scary realm of personal failure and into a recognized, studied condition. It is a state of exhaustion. And look at the definition, it's very clear. It is not a moral failing.
So, why? Why do these feelings, the anger, the guilt, the irritation, feel so intense and so deeply personal? Let's break down the actual psychological mechanics that are at play here.
Okay, first off, that feeling of complete powerlessness when a loved one refuses care, that almost always translates directly into anger. It has to go somewhere. Second, chronic sleep deprivation. This isn't just about being tired. It literally weakens the part of your brain that controls impulses, which makes those outbursts so much more likely. Third, the constant grief and fear of losing someone you love, well, that often just bubbles up to the surface as plain old irritability. And finally, that immense pressure to be the perfect caregiver. That just creates a vicious, cruel cycle of intense guilt with every single perceived mistake.
Now this is a really crucial point. I want you to hear this. The fact that you are tormented by these feelings, the very fact that you're worried about your actions, is the single greatest piece of evidence that your conscience is not only intact, but is incredibly strong.
Think about it for a second. A truly bad person doesn't agonize over their behavior. They don't lie awake at night feeling remorse or questioning their own morality. The pain you feel is actually proof of your love and your strong moral compass, not the absence of it.
So understanding the why behind all this is a huge first step. The next one, it's about granting yourself permission to just be human. And that journey starts by gently questioning the rules you've been living by, the very rules that have probably left you feeling so alone.
Let's start with this one. Why is asking for help from your own children not an option? Is it to protect them, or is it a rule that you've created for yourself that just doesn't serve your own survival anymore? And maybe let's go a little bit deeper. Where did that belief come from? Who taught you that real strength means you have to carry an impossible burden all by yourself in total silence? This isn't meant to be a challenge. It's just a genuine question for you to reflect on.
Now, let's just flip this around for a moment. If your own child were in your exact situation, would you want them to go through this all alone? Would you want them to hide their exhaustion and their pain from you? You know, so often, the compassion we would freely give to the people we love is the very compassion we deny ourselves.
Asking for help is about survival, plain and simple, and taking steps to make sure you're stable is not selfish. It is the only way you can continue to provide care for someone else. So what can you do? Like right now. Here are 4 essential practical steps. 1. Lower the impossible standard of perfect care down to stable care. Just stable is good enough. 2. Sleep. It is absolutely non-negotiable. It's a biological need, not a luxury. Find a way to get it. 3. When you feel that wave of anger or frustration rising, just give yourself 3 minutes. Step into another room. Breathe. This is about prevention, not avoidance. And 4. When an outburst does happen, and it might, apologize simply and then let it go. Please do not punish yourself for hours on end.
This is all that needs to be said. It's honest, it's loving, and it is enough. It repairs the moment without adding another crushing layer of shame. I'm sorry. I'm tired. I love you. That's it.
And it is so vital to remember this profound truth. You can love someone with every fiber of your being and still feel intensely irritated by them, especially under these kinds of conditions. The two feelings are not mutually exclusive. They can exist at the exact same time. It's all part of the messy, painful, and beautiful reality of being a human.
So please remember this. You are not a bad person in a normal situation. You are a human being in an extreme, limiting, and frankly impossible situation. Your reactions are not a sign of moral decay. They are a sign that you are human and that you have reached your limit. And that is okay.